Hey y'all, welcome to week 2 of the Porch League with the Central Ohio Liberal FC going up against Coach Ryan and the Columbus Cobalions. I'm trying it out with a noise gate because my roommates are watching a movie in the other room and it's bleeding a lot without it. So hopefully it doesn't screw with the audio too much. Anyway, you are looking at the matchup. We're going up against a team of, I guess I would call it a double water core. They're both amazing wall breakers in their own right. Vish on the physical side, Keldeo on the special side. And they can probably put in a lot of work against most teams. Their 200-point Pokemon is Aegislash. And so that would be, I guess, the primary offense of the team. We also have things like Tangrowth for defense. We have things like Claydol for defense, Togekiss for defense or offense. Kangaskhan gets Wish Pass. And then for more wall breaking, if you thought you needed more with things like Aegislash, Vish, and Keldeo, we have Pangoro and Vikavolt. And then we have some fast low tier Pokemon with some decent immunities to kind of round out the team, and that's what we're going up against. If you can look at the speed tiers, Keldeo looks really good against my team. We also have, I think from Togekiss up, Scarfed can outspeed Dragapult. So Scarf Haunter could be an option. Scarf Keldeo could also be an option. We'll have to do some Keldeo calcs once the game starts. And on my side, I mean, my big options are things like Sand, which doesn't look great against Tangrowth, Vish, and Keldeo. Or even really Aegislash. I guess Excadrill can do well possibly against Aegislash, but my Sand option doesn't look great. And then we have Vish, which can one-hit KO a lot of things on my team. I want to challenge myself this season, and I want to make sure that I'm bringing variations, or like different things altogether, not just variations of the same thing. So I thought this week it might be nice to bring my double grass. So we're gonna. I'm trying to build a team around Thwackey and Rotom Mow, and I'm looking what else do I need in order for this to work out well. Scarf Rotom Mow gets faster than Keldeo, obviously faster than Scarf Vish, and then I'm gonna bring a Choice Band Thwackey with Grassy Glide, which can 2-hit KO Vish and goes before Fishious Rend, and then we also have Keldeo. It gets ahead of Keldeo, and for most calcs, I've run the Choice Band Grassy Glide is one-hit KOing Keldeo. So I'm going to try to build a team around this. Looking at his team as well, I don't know if Aegislash has the best matchup. Like I said, I have Excadrill, I have Dragapult, I have Arcanine, I have Tyranitar. These are all things that would mean that would discourage Ryan from bringing Aegislash, but Aegislash is so good I could still see it coming, but I'd be curious about it. He has to bring Tangrowth because I don't have many options for it. Hopefully I can get a Toxic off on it. It's not like he's going to stay in front of an Arcanine or something, but I feel like I do have to bring Arcanine in order to have another way to take down Tangrowth. Tangrowth, I'm expecting if it's brought, it'll be brought defensively rather than Spadef because of things like Excadrill, it becomes a very easy switch in for it. So I'm going to be running a special Arcanine and actually a special Dragapult to hopefully help get around this wall, because honestly Tangrowth, even in not only in my prep but also in my mock games, Tangrowth is a big problem. Another big problem I have is Pangoro. With its priority move Bullet Punch, and with even just its like a choice band set, it can do a lot to most of my Pokemon. especially thinking that I should probably bring Slowbro as alternatives for beating Keldeo and Dracovish, resisting most of their stab moves minus Outrage. So my team right now is looking like Dragapult, Arcanine, Rotom-Mow, Thwackey, and Slowbro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And then after that, I felt like Excadrill was a good bring because Togekiss starts to look good offensively against the Pokemon that I've already named. So Excadrill helps with that. It also gives me a potential Rapid Spinner. And then I feel like I need to also defend against the Aegislash if it were to come anyway. Excadrill is also a decent switch in to Vikavolt depending on its set and my set. So let's look at my team. So we have this Dragapult, and the team is built around this. It's a sub, Wisp, Disable, Hex. He has a few things with priority moves, like Pangoro, but otherwise I could sit behind a sub, and then whatever he tries to break a sub with, I can disable that move. I'm doubting most things on his team have multiple ways to break a Dragapult sub. I can Wisp things like the Pangoro. I can disable most moves, like I said, and then Hex is just, I think, the best single attacking move with this set, especially if I'm trying to status things. The speed investment is so that I'm still faster than Scarf Dracovish. I don't know if Scarf Dracovish is the bring against my team, but I felt like I couldn't not prep for that. Here's this Excadrill. I'm running heavy duty boots in case of sticky webs. Heavy duty boots lets me stay at my speed, which is set faster than Togekiss. I can rapid spin away webs. I can rapid spin away any other hazards. I can get up my own stealth rocks in front of things like Togekiss. And then I'm running Iron Head and high horsepower. I'm running high horsepower because I'm running grassy terrain or grassy surge with my Thwackey. In one of my games, I actually did miss a high horsepower. That felt like it was pretty critical in one of my mock games. So, but I also felt like I needed it like this. I'm also running mostly defensive, so I can switch in two Pokemon. And honestly, like running more attack isn't going to help with the probable Tangrowth switch in. So here's my Scarf Rotom-Mow that I was talking about. I'm running Toxic in case later in the game the switch in to my electric moves is Tangrowth. I'm also running Trick as well for possible Tangrowth or other things. I'm probably not going to click Trick until I know what the obvious switch in to this Pokemon is, because I don't want to trick something like Togekiss. The speed is keeping me faster than any like Togekiss and lower with a timid or jolly nature. Honestly, this is just so that things like Dracovish and Keldeo don't get out of hand. I also have the Thwackey for the same reason. This is actually living quite a bit. I hope to bring it in more often than I was in my prep. In my prep, I kept feeling like I had to save it because I wanted to win with it. I want to try to not do that because this choice band set can actually do a lot of work, even if it's just to knock off good items and be a revenge for things like Keldeo. This is my Slowbro. Teleport Regenerator helps me get out of sticky situations. It also lets me potentially Scaldborn or Toxic Pangoro. And I'm actually doing quite well against it, especially once my item goes away. The knockoff from Pangoro, which is the most likely dark move that Pangoro is going to have, is going to do the same the first time it connects and all subsequent times because of the reduced dark move with the Colbur Berry. And then lastly, I have Arcanine. Really, this is Flamethrower and Toxic for Tangrowth, and then the things that want to switch in so that it doesn't have to be Tangrowth, that gets Flamethrowered. I doubt things like Aegislash and Haunter which would be the two things that don't mind getting a Toxic thrown at it. I doubt those are going to be the switch-ins to Arcanine. If Haunter's brought it is for Dragapult, and it doesn't want Modest, even with a little bit of investment, Flamethrowers. I have Sunny Day. Not only does it increase how much Morning Sun is helping me out, but I felt like it was a decent and creative way to nerf the double water that I'm going up against. We have Toxic on this, we have Toxic on this, we have Toxic on this, and we have Will-O-Wisp on this. We also have other ways to cause hazard or status with Slowbro, and I feel like all of that is for a late game Hex Dragapult. I wish that I could be running Modest, but like I said, I need to keep open the opportunity for Scarf Dracovish, and that's the team. So I am going to stop now, and I'll start when the game starts. Thank you. So we are back with a replay. That is mainly because the match went nearly 100 turns, and I stopped talking at turn 50. So I will just do a short calm. On team preview, I was looking around, and you can see that it's all pretty much offense, except maybe Togekiss and Tangrowth. And just looking at that, I would think that Tangrowth would be the one that is physically defensive because I have threats like Tyranitar and Excadrill, and Togekiss would have to be the specially defensive one. So after that, I see the double water, obviously, and then I see Pangoro and Aegislash. These two break for each other, and these two break for each other. I have my double grass. Choice Band Thwackey does well against most of the team, obviously not the Togekiss, and doesn't really do much to the Tangrowth except U-turn for like 20 or 30%. Pangoro looks so scary against my team. Whether it's Scrappy or Iron Fist, it can deal with this. If it was just a 1v1, he'll take that trade. Can deal with this 1v1, and he'll take that trade. He would like that. I mean, I don't really have much to hit it with this thing, especially if this is running bulk. So I could potentially just give it a Choice Scarf or something. So I can't really do anything with this. Slowbro deceivingly handles most Pangoro sets well with the Colbur Berry. I can potentially get off multiple Scalds against its probably one dark move, which would be knockoff, because the knockoff plus any of the ones after it would be doing the same amount of damage, and it's like 30 to 45%, and then obviously bulk up starts to look scary. Thwackey actually is the probably best defense against a Pangoro lead, because I think like 75% of the time I OHKO it with Woodhammer, and then Arcanine can maybe nerf its attack, but that's about it. So I ended up leading Thwackey because it felt like the only one that could handle the Pangoro turn one, and he gives it to me. Thank God. This match would have been a lot harder for me if Pangoro were still around. We have Tangrowth now, and then from here, I think that Tangrowth is my worst friend, so I'm going to try to Toxic it. I'll take this trade. I also want to take away its item. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's Rocky Helmet because it didn't show leftovers, and I don't think it'd be Assault Vest. It was Rocky Helmet. I get tricked onto me, and then I get it knocked off. I'm going to switch out into Excadrill. This is, I notice he doesn't have any form of hazard, so I don't really mind getting the heavy duty boots knocked off, and it gives me the passive recovery now from terrain, which I wouldn't otherwise get with the boots on it. So I make a hard read on the Keldeo switch and go to, or not a hard read, switch over to Slowbro, give him the Tangrowth again. I click Teleport. I wanted to just see what other moves it had. I didn't really need my Colbur Berry because the Pangoro was gone, and I give him a lot of extra health. This Toxic, I think, ended up being important because later in the game, he's able to just go Dracovish every once in a while and with, like, no drawback. I wish I had gotten that Toxic early on. Here I reveal my Dragapult set, and I also reveal why I don't think it was necessarily as good as a Specs Dragapult set, but I ran Specs Dragapult last week, so I wasn't going to run the same set twice. I disable the Dazzling Gleam, I get the Hex off. It's doing a good 39%, but I mean, with Roost, he's able to just roost that off. Maybe here I could have, yeah, no, because I think that Max was doing like 40%. So, I get the rapid spin. I don't know what I was thinking here. If I was just trying to get ahead of Keldeo, but the rapid spin was not helpful for me. I get in my Arcanine on the Keldeo. This time I just switch Slowbro every time. Even if it's going to be the flip turn, it's better for me than the alternative. Tangrowth here is looking like a knockoff is free every time. I end up going Arcanine because I figure the leftovers is nice, but long term I just need to kill this thing. And I'm running out of ways to do it. So this Arcanine being toxic ends up being a big problem because I need health on it. Looking at the team, it's one of my best ways of beating Tangrowth, and Aegislash if Aegislash is physically offensive. It does really well against that. So that Toxic is good for him in the long run. I mean, we're on turn 25 now, and we're going to see how much it actually does. So I bring out Rillaboom just to switch, bring in Arcanine again. On situations like this, I probably should just switch out. It's early on in the game, but I just go, I want to catch this with a Toxic. I end up getting it now, and you'll see that it actually does matter long term. I feel the Sunny Day. This is a little bit of a cheap play. I don't need that much, and I don't get much out of it. Like, look, so I get up to 75%, and I still got to switch out and do the same thing. So, flip turn brings out Tangrowth, and now I'm bringing in Arcanine again. And this is kind of how the game will progress for quite some time. It's kind of a which gets whittled down first. Keldeo comes out. I want to flamethrow it. I'm under Sun. I'm realizing I'm doing quite a bit to a lot of things except maybe Dracovish, but Dracovish is already poisoned. So this time I call the flip turn and turn 33 and bring in Thwackey and switch out. This is just some good damage on it. He gets the knockoff. I really, really, really should have saved that. Maybe go to Slowbro then once. But I'm at 81%. I'm still doing okay on my health with my Arcanine. Vicious Wren does nothing. I see here that Dracovish was not choice banned, obviously. And then I'm going into Arcanine. Arcanine right now, I'm just like, please, please, please be around to take care of Tangrowth. I'm running out of ways to deal with it. Frankly, I think that my Dragapult could have been switched in earlier for the Tangrowth. Because, okay, so here I teleport because it felt like I needed everything to be at decent health. So I end up bringing in Arcanine now. I flamethrower just because I didn't want that to get out of hand. Maybe I could have lived a little bit more with clicking Morning Sun, but I know that I'm also going to be running out of Morning Suns as the game progresses. Right now I've used 2, but I mean, he can just keep switching between these 2 things and getting in Keldeo and flip turning for a long time. So Morning Sun is not necessarily the thing I want to keep clicking right now. I go Thwackey on the Keldeo. I should click Grassy Glide. Let's see what I click. Grassy Glide, okay. So this is also showing him that I want to just click Grassy Glide in front of it. Gets the knockoff. Right here I'm also calcing, and I need Keldeo to be around 80%, something percent, 81, 83% for me to not need my choice band on Thwacky. I could potentially go Thwacky on a knockoff and have a little bit more versatility with it. I could maybe even knock off some of these items. Okay, so here I teleported on the Giga Drain. It puts it Tangrowth at full health, but I can at least get behind a sub now. I do the calcs. There's no way Vish is living this, so I just Hex. And now he can freely go into Togekiss. And this is kind of bothering me because Togekiss is so good against this specific Dragon Pulse set. I really wish I was able to get a Toxic off on Togekiss rather than the burn. But, I mean, at least it was status. Maybe early on I should have known that, especially thinking about the fact that it could have roosted up on things. So I'm switching around here. I'm just trying to make sure I get in good positioning with my Arcanine so I can give it some more health. I need to be above like 38% for Choice Band or for +1 Aegislash to not kill with Shadow Sneak. And that's an important calc. I need to be in at least the 30s for me to be healthy around that thing. Here I did not click Grassy Glide. I probably should have. I would have been in such a better position if I just clicked Grassy Glide right there. Now what? I switch into Slowbro and I give up pretty much all positioning. Maybe if I Psychicked here, I would have a little bit more. I end up teleporting, which is pretty nice because then I can just switch into Aegislash now. Honestly, I should have just switched out. I know that it's going to be Togekiss. 43% is nice, but it's just going to roost back up. And then it's just like this for a while. I'm going to put it in fast mode, just so you can see that the goal is basically just to whittle down Togekiss and Tangrowth. And I do it not very well, in my opinion. I was having trouble getting in. I mean, my answer to Togekiss is my Excadrill, and his answer to my Excadrill is his Tangrowth. Then my answer to the Tangrowth is Arcanine, and the answer for Arcanine is Togekiss. So he ends up winning that overall because he has more roosts than I do Morning Sun, and his Regenerator Pokemon is sort of part of that cycle, and mine is not. So I'm realizing something has to give again. Maybe one of these times when he goes Tangrowth, I can get back in my Dragapult. Here's that where I call it. I get behind the sub. I go for the Hex. I go for the Hex again. Maybe here I could have disabled the Roost, but I go Excadrill instead, which is nice because he goes Dazzling Gleam. We're back into the same cycle that he benefits from. So I'm thinking, okay, the longer this lasts, the worse it is for me. I know that Aegislash is physical now. I know it has to be running Shadow Sneak to deal with Dragapult. And I'm just getting lower and lower. One of these times I had to call... One of us had to stop switching around and just go for an attack. He ended up going for... he ended up being like, okay, I'm just going to stay in and click Air Slash on the Arcanine to keep it low. I figured I needed that Arcanine. He could have went for the Air Slash there. So I ended up staying in, clicking the Iron Head. He would have potentially knocked out my Excadrill in return if let me go back a turn. So here, if I get the Iron Head and he somehow gets a high roll or knocks me out, then that puts us in like a bit of a neutral position, because my Arcanine is still out of range of Aegislash, and Togekiss goes down to the burn. So Aegislash is out. I click Iron Head. I get the flinch here, which I don't think was that important because he could have just Shadow Sneaked me. like he does. And because ultimately, so let's say he gets the Swords Dance up. He says that flinch mattered more. I thought so at first, but let's say he does get that Swords Dance up. I still go Arcanine. I put it at +1. I still live a Shadow Sneak and I can kill with Flamethrower. We still get into this same position. Um, and with Excadrill dead, etc. So I used my last Morning Sun to get up to 57% health, and I should have just left it at this. I should have let myself go. Okay, so he gets the Giga Drain. I need to go Dragapult, and I need to just click Hex. I go sub on the knockoff, just so that I can be down closer to a better health. And now we're in this position. He goes Aegislash. I go Arcanine. He goes Shadow Sneak, bringing me down to 34%. Now he King Shields on the Flamethrower. Now it's 22%. Here I should have switched out. I pretty much needed to switch out, and I didn't. Because what happens here is he can sack Tangrowth, and now I have a low Arcanine. He can just sweep my team with 50% Slowbro with Shadow Sneak, 60% Dragapult, and 13% Thwackey. So I really should have... No, I should have expected that he knew that Tangrowth was the positioning here. Even then, I still think I might lose, because... Okay, so he goes. I think I lost at this point already, because even if I switch out, he always has the protect option with King's Shield, whittling me down to like 12%, and then he can for sure take me out with the King's Shield, even at -1. Maybe there's a scenario where that isn't the case, but I think that he has the game locked here. Anyway, I go through, I KO with Flamethrower. Aegislash has the option to take me out there. And then here he plays his little games to get to +3. He didn't need to be at plus anything. He was already killing me with everything anyway. And he ends up winning. That's GG's to Ryan. He played really well. I think that in some cases, his team has these overlapping weaknesses, like why would you want your Tangrowth and Aegislash to be the same, have a similar weakness, your offensive Pokemon and your defensive Pokemon? And I think this just goes to show how that can still be effective in Draft League. I might only have one or two ways to take out Tangrowth, and if early on, and if that's a fire type, and early on I'm using it to battle Tangrowth, which can just regenerate later in the game, then that every time that scenario happens, Aegislash looks better and better. And this double water is hard to deal with. I had double grasp, but frankly, I would rather have not have used a mid tier and a low tier Pokemon, and I would have rather used like two top tier Pokemon with Excadrill and Tyranitar, but I couldn't afford to bring those given his team. So this sort of synergy works really well, and he'll be able to. I call it synergy just because of how they play into each other. Like the weaknesses can be the same, but who cares? Like who cares if there's when your two offensive Pokemon share a fairy weakness when you have fairy switch-ins. With Togekiss and Tangrowth, etc. So his team was really great, and that was 99 turns. Felt like 200, and it could have been 20 if I hadn't led Thwackey to take out Pangoro in the beginning, because that would have been terrible. So once again, good game, Ryan. I expect to see him in the playoffs. I expect to be there as well, and we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to switch around my team a little bit. So I like my team. I'm just looking ahead and trying to think of better ways to do similar things. So that is it for this week. Week 3 starts next week. Who am I playing? I am playing... Let me see. I am playing the Las Vegas Venusaurs. This is a non-conference game. It's going to be very difficult. He's got screens and a bunch of setup and a bunch of attack and good types, good colors. Let me see if my types and colors can deal with his. Thanks for watching. Bye.